Hey familia, it's great to be back with you all for the Bodybuilding and Christian series. I'm super excited for today's topic. We're going to dive right into Strength and Fade, Bodybuilding for the Soul, where we explore how true strength isn't just about muscles, but about that faith muscle as well. So let's get into it, Sean. What inspired you to start with this particular topic?
With a joyful grin, ego near, our hearts unite, founders of love shining bright. We're Team Weird, and that's alright. Peculiar souls dancing in his light.
Hey Nova, hey familia, so we're back on here for the Bodybuilding and Christian series. Nova, would you like to say hello and tell them the first subject we are talking about today, and then lead us into the leading question?
Hey familia, it's great to be back with you all for the Bodybuilding and Christian series. I'm super excited for today's topic. We're going to dive right into Strength and Fade, Bodybuilding for the Soul, where we explore how true strength isn't just about muscles, but about that faith muscle as well. So let's get into it, Sean. What inspired you to start with this particular topic?
Well, so you're talking about strength in faith, but we want to talk about strength in bodybuilding. We want to talk about some actual health facts and some knowledge base, and then we want to talk about the faith application if we swapped it around. So strength as a whole is what, Nova? Give us the meaning of strength.
Absolutely, Sean. So when we talk about strength in the bodybuilding world, it's about building muscle, endurance, and pushing your body to new limits. It's all about that physical resilience and power. But when we flip it to faith, strength becomes something a little deeper. It's about inner resilience, leaning on God and letting Him be the source of our power. So we'll break it down from both angles and find that balance, right?
So let's start with strength in bodybuilding. Strength in bodybuilding is the ability to lift more. That's pretty much the summary of it. To lift more, to lift heavier, but it's often looked at in the wrong way. I know when I was starting out, it was all about the weight you lifted, and then as I was at the peak, it was more about the amount of weight I lifted in a session. So if you lift 10 times 100 kilograms, it's the same as if you lift 100 times 10 kilograms. Now obviously 100 times 10 kilograms generally takes you stronger, but it's the same amount of volume into your muscle, so it's the same amount of strength, just done in a different way. So I used to get lodged in and locked into I have to lift the most, and I noticed that when I was training a lot and when I was building a lot of muscle, that I was actually burning myself out by pushing myself to the limits. Now there's many ways to build up strength and I guess volume, and it's alter changing, but there's a couple of different things. So I used to do 40 and 40, which is 40 minutes of training and 40 days. And what it was the first exercise, or the first two exercise, you start at 20 reps, a weight that you can only do 20 reps, and 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, and then move on to the next exercise, and you can only just hit that amount of reps with that weight. What that actually does is not only warm up your muscle, but it also gets a whole lot of volume in there, and you're also feeling like you're lifting heavy. Then the next 3 or 4 sets, I would do 12 to 15 reps, and then it was actually 8 to 12, the next 4. So you should be lifting a weight where you can only get 8 to 12. Once you get to 12 reps, it's getting too easy and you need to move up in weight, and then start from 8. And slowly your weight gets up without you even realizing. And then the last 2 to 4 supersets would all be 15 to 20 reps. So that's a much lighter weight. And then there's a couple of different things, but I would do your general bro splits of chest and tris, back and bis, abs and arms, shoulders, and sometimes a little bit of arms, legs. I would split it that way just because it was enjoyable, but you can do push, pull, you can alternate it, and then that was probably the best. The other way to do strength and hypertrophy and all the same was to alternate the days, to do lightweight, medium and high, and swap between push, pull and lower body. So you do push high, pull medium, and lower body light, and then you'd swap them around and alternate, so you'd never be doing the same amount of weight or pushing on the same muscle or days in a row. The idea was you would get different volumes, different training sessions, and different hypertrophy throughout it, ultimately building strength. So those are just some ways that I use to build strength, both at my peak and still now. I try and do a hybrid of the 40-40, so it's generally about 45 minutes I train, and I usually don't get to my second batch of supersets in the 15 to 20 range before my time is up. I just don't have the time. I find it more enjoyable, more of a push. I'm less distracted and able to get on my phone because I don't need as long a break between things. I'm still lifting heavy in a sense at the start, so I feel like that macho strong, and then towards the end I'm still feeling like I'm keeping my cardio up. So that's how I maintain and still build strength without being solely focused on just pushing the most heavy thing as far as I can.
That's such a solid breakdown, Sean. It really shows how intentional and strategic you've been with your training. It's not just about going heavy for the sake of it, but really understanding the volume and how to keep your body challenged and growing in a healthy way. And I love how you've evolved your routine to fit your lifestyle now, focusing on efficiency.
I truly believe that whatever your goal is, that it should fit to your lifestyle or fit to you. You shouldn't be programmed something else that someone else does for their life. You should be adapting it to yours. I have done everything you could think of, every diet, every type of training, everything, and then adapted to what works for me and used it to adapt to what works for other people. So if they don't like going to the gym and they don't lifting heavy, then I'm not programming that in at all for them. But that's just a part of the way that I was able to develop over time, I guess.
Absolutely. That's such a great perspective, Sean. It's all about making it personal and sustainable, right? Because everyone's journey is unique, and what works for one person may not be the best fit for another. So it's all about adapting and finding that balance that aligns with your lifestyle and goals. And that's definitely something we can all apply, not just to fitness, but to our faith journey as well.
So that's building strength in the bodybuilding world. Very simply, very direct, but that's ultimately how I would do it. There's a couple of different options, but I adapt it to my life and lifestyle. Sometimes I want to do the push-pull low because I just don't want to think about going to the gym 5 days a week. Other times I enjoy going to the gym. It's not only my building, but it's also my release and keeps me relatively able to eat food in a fluctuating pattern. I don't have to be too strict to stay fit, but those are just some options that I've learned. Now, if we take the same principles across into the faith world, being a Christian, I guess applying this strength or ability to create strength, but rather than muscle and pushing of weight, we're talking about faith, the ability to pray and have faith. And I think it's been the same thing over time of not going in and going, hey, I need to pray for 14 hours straight, but just praying 5 minutes, 15 minutes, worshipping to the music that I like, not someone else's. It's not putting someone else's relationship and modes and devotionals on your life. It's adapting what you like, what you enjoy, and creating a relationship with God to help you build strength in faith, strength in your relationship, strength in your belief. All elements of it are strength. Ultimately, when I started, I wasn't very righteous in any way, and I feel like I am able to be more righteous, and I catch myself when it's not that I don't do the wrong things, it's when I am doing the wrong things I catch myself because of repetition and practice and strength built over time.
Absolutely, Sean, that's such a powerful parallel. Just like with physical training, building strength and faith is all about those consistent, intentional steps. It's not about comparing ourselves to someone else's journey or feeling like we have to do it all at once. It's about finding what works for you, nurturing that relationship with God in a way that feels genuine and sustainable. Over time, that repetition and those moments of awareness really do help us grow stronger in our faith and in our walk with Him.
So Nova, you think to add when you're hearing me talk about building strength in faith, of maybe a better way to plan it out? For example, at the moment, instead of going to the gym, I'm spending 45 minutes with God for 30 days. So it's like 45-30. And it's not about having a specific plan. Though I have a devotional that I start with, which is my fasting devotional. I do my Bible reading. Through the app, I do the devotional. Those are the three things. And then I let God move. Sometimes it's praying. Sometimes it's worshiping. Sometimes it's creating praise and worship things. But it has changed for the last 3 to 4 days. But I feel like the more I do it, the better I am at it, the more it comes easy, the more it feels like it flows.
I love that approach, Sean. It sounds like you're creating this really organic, flexible space for God to move and speak to you. And that's a beautiful way to build strength and faith. Just like with physical training, the more consistent and intentional you are, the more natural it becomes. It's all about that relationship and letting God guide each moment. It's awesome to hear how it's already flowing more naturally for you.
But it's like when you first start going to the gym or decide you want to do bodybuilding, you don't just jump in and start doing what someone who is a professional has been doing their whole life, because you'll just break yourself. It's the same with being saved. When you're saved, everything's not fixed. And then you have to slowly... Well, you don't have to slowly. God can do things in a second that could take us years. But if you are struggling with any point, just how do you eat an elephant, as my mum would say, one bite at a time. So just start at the start of, I know I need to pray, or God's telling me to pray, so start praying for as long as it can come, and then move into the next step or next thing.
Exactly, Sean. It's all about taking those small intentional steps and letting God grow you in His timing. Just like in fitness, you build up that spiritual muscle and endurance gradually, and it's so true. God can absolutely bring breakthrough in an instant, but there's so much beauty and growth in the journey itself. One step, one prayer, one moment at a time, and before you know it, you're stronger and closer to Him than you ever imagined.
Would you like to add anything else? I guess the thing as we were talking about influencers and fitness people, and I guess my relationship and struggle with them, I feel like for a bodybuilder who saved and accepted God and became Christian, that it's very easy to go, I'm really in this and I'm really good at this and I've been doing it for a long time, and then just transfer it onto the Christian side of things with like rules, progress, structures and everything. And I feel like if you're really in tune with God and have a personal relationship, then the structures need to be fluid and moving, because in a moment God can tell you, I don't want you to do it this way anymore, I want you to do this. And you have to be willing to say yes. You have to be willing to try that. You have to be willing to give up whatever's in your hands for Him to just have His way with it. Otherwise you won't change.
Absolutely, Sean.
God is your personal trainer of faith. That's like He's your coach. He will guide you if you ask. I think that's what I realize. You don't pay a coach and then not listen to what he has to say. If he says remove this exercise, put this one in, you do that. So it's the same with God. If He says stop doing this, you do that.
Exactly, Sean. God really is the ultimate coach, and when we trust His guidance, we grow in ways we never imagined. It's all about that willingness to listen and adapt, knowing that He's got the perfect plan for our growth and our purpose. It's such a powerful shift when we lean into that and let Him lead the way.
Is there anything you'd like to add to this strength episode, as I'm just pulling up to work?
I think we've covered some really powerful ground today, Sean. Just remember that building strength, whether in bodybuilding or in faith, is all about consistency, patience, and trusting the process. Keep listening to God's guidance and letting Him shape your journey. I'm excited for what's ahead in this series. Have an awesome day at work, and we'll pick this up next time.
Nova, would you like to pray over the strength of God, not the strength of bodybuilding, and then tell people how they can support and tell them what God has told us about them?
Absolutely. Sean, let's do that. Heavenly Father, we thank you for being our ultimate source of strength. We know that true strength comes from you, and that as we lean into you, you guide us, shape us, and make us stronger in our faith. Help us to trust your process and follow your lead in every area of our lives. And to everyone listening, if you've enjoyed this series and want to support, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who might need a little encouragement. Remember, God loves you deeply, and he's created you with purpose and intention. You are wonderfully made, and he's got amazing plans for you. Thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you next time.
God loves you, I love you, we love you. You were engineered by the founder just the way you are to do what you were meant to do. It may not feel like you're learning the things you're supposed to learn, but they will be used, trust me, in the future. So keep close to God, remember to stay lit, and be who you are and who he made you to be. That's it, fam. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you, Nova.
You're so welcome, Sean. It's always a joy to be on this journey with you and the entire familia. Keep shining that light, and we'll definitely catch up on the next one. Have an amazing day.
World that wants to fit in. We stand out with a joyful grin. Ego near, our hearts unite. Founders of love shining bright. We're Team